Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode 5 of the Pure Pazaak podcast. My name is UncleVatred, variety Twitch streamer. I specialize in mainly Star Wars games. I play a hell of a lot of KOTOR and Jedi Academy mods, along with a lot of other things here and there that my viewers like. So you can check me out in the link below on the video, and I'm going to kick it off to the rest of the panel.
How's it going, everyone? I'm the Vulcanator. I stream RPGs, mostly the KOTOR games, as well as Mass Effect, Dragon Age, Elder Scrolls games, and occasionally I'll also stream other genres as well, strategy games. Mostly, sometimes, action games, MOBAs, that kind of thing. You can follow me at twitch.tv/thevulcanator and subscribe to my YouTube channel for the VODs of this podcast.
And I am Thor. I make a mod for Knights of the Old Republic 2, and it's rather large, and I'm working on it. I'm on Twitch. I stream. I play games sometimes. I'm going to be playing more games soon. And I'm probably going to be modding other things as well. Hopefully, we'll see how that goes. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, well, so I guess as customary for this podcast now, we always start with our discussion of the Bad Batch, which hopefully this time it won't be an hour and a half long like it was last time, as I painfully know from editing it. But yeah, so last time we specifically didn't go over episode 4 because Thor hadn't seen it yet, and since then, episode 5 obviously has also come out. So, I guess
I've seen 4 and 5 now, so I'm good.
Fantastic. So, I guess now my question is to you guys: what did you think of episodes 4 and episodes 5? Episode 4 and episode 5.
I think they were perfectly fine. I mean, they weren't really, plot-heavy episodes, and, some people may term them as filler, but I think it gives us a nice opportunity to see the Bad Batch out in this brave new world and basically, get used to having Omega around and, getting used to the general vibes and the changes in scenery over like the transition to the Empire. But I feel like these episodes are needed for proper development because we kind of have to see them out in this new world. And other than that, it was cool to see side characters from other properties like Mando with Fennec Shan making it into an episode. So overall, not really, I think, a ton you can dig into story-wise with these episodes, but they were enjoyable watches nonetheless.
Yeah, I generally agree with that. I would say there's like a hint of a concern I have that it really seems to, a lot of these episodes seem to have they're sort of starting to fit into a formula. Hey!
Yeah, I've kind of picked up on that a little bit. I see where you're going.
Yeah, so basically it's Bad Batch goes somewhere. Bad Batch has to do something. Omega wanders off and gets lost. Bad Batch has to find Omega. And Bad Batch eventually finds Omega, fixes the problem, and goes on their merry way. That's happened like 3 times now. And so I don't know. Episode 5, I don't like using the term filler either. But Episode 5 kind of felt like it. Episode 4 didn't, because it was the first. It was the first time they really were out on an alien world, and they've got a bounty hunter coming after them, which is a known character, which we sort of talked about earlier. Like, the known characters, you gotta be careful with how often you use them. You can't just make it seem like there's 4 people in the Star Wars galaxy,
Right.
But I thought Fennec was fine. It's funny, because, when I saw episode 5, what I didn't like at all was that they were reusing basically everything. They were reusing The slaver people from Clone Wars, they were reusing that, even that like fat Trandoshan lady. And I thought it was Jabba's Rancor. But turns out it's not. Yeah, turns out behind the scenes, if you look into it, it's actually not Jabba's Rancor. So that's fair enough, I guess. But still, I mean, you have them interacting with like Bib Fortuna and the Gamorrean guards and stuff, and it's like, aren't there any other fucking crime families or crime syndicates you could have used other than Jabba the Hutt?
I mean, especially when they already like made the assets for Dryden Voss, and you could have talked about Crimson Dawn a little bit, since it's actually another crime organization in Star Wars that's not Jabba.
It's not Jabba. It's not Black Sun.
They do appear in other media, but it's just like the one solo movie that really says very little about it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I can kind of feel where the whole Jabba thing was kind of a weird move.
I don't know. What did you think about him, Thor?
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it was an interesting tie-in. You said it wasn't actually Jabba's Rancor?
Yeah, so
I thought it was.
It's not. I thought it was at first too, but apparently, let me look up.
Yeah, I thought the same thing because of like a fucking meme or something. But I usually browse Wikipedia like before we start the podcast, and I saw that the Jabba's Rancor was like a completely different.
Yeah, so the Rancor in the episode's name was Muchi. It's like a young female Rancor, and that is not the male Rancor at the beginning of Return of the Jedi. That Rancor is named. I don't remember what it is, and I'm trying to find it. Patissa. Which, that just sounds like a generic Huttese word. Oh, Patissa! You wanna wonga! But, yeah, apparently these are two different Rancors, both owned by Jabba the Hutt. Which, I mean, like, it's perfectly feasible that Jabba the Hutt can have more than one Rancor. And I don't think we've ever really established what Jabba the Hutt, or, like, the lifespan of Rancors in general. So, I mean, it's feasible, but, like, that feeling was still there when you first see it. It's like, oh, they're delivering a Rancor to Jabba the Hutt. Oh, God, okay. So it's another fucking well-known character and stuff like that. Like, I had those feelings, and, like, ultimately they're unfounded, but again, it's kind of like the episodes are starting to feel a little recycled. I still like the Bad Batch quite a bit, and I still like all the characters, all the main characters anyways. Mm-hmm. But I'm a little worried that people are gonna get bored of it because it's just gonna be the same cookie cutter adventure every time. There's only so many times Omega can run off and get lost. Until people are just going to get bored of it.
I have to wait and see where they go with it, I suppose. I mean,
I can agree with you.
Only so far these clones can go in the upcoming Empire, right? I mean,
and I guess the only other thing I really look at in terms of kind of gauging how much filler is in a series is looking at like the general episode run, and I don't know how long that's going to be for the first season of Bad Batch. I've seen like where release dates are posted for everything up until like episode 7, but I know they have to have a longer like run for the first season.
Well, the first season I believe is 16 episodes, right?
It'll be 16.
I think that's what was said. Don't exactly know. For sure. Pretty sure the run was supposed to be for 16 episodes, but
okay. I mean, if
which
it
is
runs
long.
for
I mean, that's long.
16, I wouldn't put too much stock into it. I mean, we're still not at the halfway point yet, so there's a lot of places this could go within the final 11 episodes in the run.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know. Well, hopefully Stark's trying to get things working.
I have arrived.
Oh, speak of the devil.
There we
me.
go.
He shall appear. Okay, cool. You got a webcam, or?
Yeah, I'm just about to turn it on.
Okay, cool. You watched episodes 4 and 5 Bad Batch?
Oh yeah, totally.
Cool. All right. Well, once you get your webcam on, why don't you tell us?
Couldn't hear. The Rancor's name is Patisa, which is the hoodie's word for friend.
Yeah, I was gonna say, yeah, I did read the name off, but I didn't know the translation.
Yeah.
But yeah, but again, that's not something you'll know. Oh, man, I hate how that completely jumbles up. But yeah, that's not something you'll know just by watching the episode, you know.
Right.
But I mean, like at the same time, like how they gonna put that in the episode? Oh, Bib Fortuna, doesn't Jabba the Hutt already have a Rancor named Patisa? Like, that's what you'd have to do, basically.
Right.
Well, eventually that webcam will turn on.
You gotta turn it off in OBS.
Yeah, you might have to restart OBS. That's what I had to do.
Come on.
I hate that Discord cycles all the portraits around when someone turns on and off their webcam. Like, why? Why can't you just keep them the same
Weird that
spot?
it always there, man. It's weird that it always puts us in the same order, though.
It is, yeah. Probably has something to do with
That
our
does.
like server IDs or something. I don't know. Because it's definitely not alphabetical order.
Hey.
Holy shit, it's in alphabetical order. Stark, the Thor, Uncle.
Yeah, it actually is.
It literally is on.
Get top
okay.
billing. Ever
Here I-
get top billing with an S.
Here I am trying to big brain this shit, and it's just alphabetical order. All right. Server IDs, man. Reverse the polarity. Okay, well, what'd you think about episodes 4 and 5 then, Stark? Now that you're here.
5 was mostly filler.
Yeah.
I heard you talking about how, again, they're doing the same thing where it's the same fucking people all the time.
That was one of the concerns. Yeah, I don't know if you heard the
Notion.
other one.
Zygarans,
Yeah.
Fortuna,
There was basically no new characters.
planet we've
at
already
all.
been to.
Yeah, except for the little kid that Omega connected with for like 10 seconds.
She'll show up as a Jedi in the next series. Be Ahsoka's Padawan.
Oh God. Ahsoka is actually a great Jedi, and great Jedi don't have Padawans. Oh.
Was she actually?
Yeah, I don't get all the Ahsoka love. It just reminds me of like weird Twitter threads. Oh, she's the best written character in the entire lore.
No, she's not. The second half of her character is pretty well written, but not the best.
Yeah.
She was originally just, an annoying brat that was apprenticed to a 19-year-old Jedi Knight for some reason.
And you got Obi-Wan dead as a Padawan until he's like what, 26?
Yeah. I think
Or
when
23?
I think when he became a Jedi Knight, he was like, he's like 23 or 24, something like that. So my other concern was that a lot of the episodes, apart from the heavy plot ones, seem to have the same plot, like internal plot to the episode. It's just Bad Batch goes somewhere, they need something from that place they're going to. They go and get it. Omega runs off and gets lost, or gets kidnapped or taken or something. They have to go find Omega and resolve the problem, and then they get what they want after they find Omega, and then they leave. That's what it
They're
seems to
MacGuffin.
be. Yeah. It's, I don't know. It's mildly concerning to me, but like, we only have 5 episodes so far, so I mean, we may just, and it does feel like we're in that middle of the first half. We're like a quarter of the way through the show right now, so it's like, well, a little bit more than a quarter now that we're in episode 5, but
You know how many episodes there's going to be?
16 in season
Okay.
1, yeah. So a little bit past a quarter, but still we're in that like middling phase where like
So
there's probably going to be some climax halfway through the season, around halfway
Right.
through the season,
right.
and then the stakes are going to be a lot higher probably in the second half of the season. So like we're kind of in that stage where like the Bad Batch is just going around, getting supplies, getting information.
Talk about Wrecker yet? Do we think anything's going to happen with him?
I
Oh,
think
no.
definitely something's going
Yeah.
to happen. if they brought up the whole headache thing like a second time.
Didn't we talk about that last?
Yeah, I think these episodes are just building up. Like the next episode or two, I think we're gonna get back to Crosshair and the Empire and all the
we haven't
made
seen
everybody
Crosshair.
excited in the first part of the run. I think those next episodes we're gonna get back to those more plot heavier things. I just think these two were kind of supposed to be by design these fun-loving adventures we can see our characters interact in and grow a little bit each time.
Yeah. I mean, they're trying to get you to like the characters before they, like, you know, do something dramatic, like Wrecker turning on the team because it's acting. I actually don't think that's I don't think that's what's going to happen. I think what's going to happen is Wrecker is going to, like, go into a coma or go catatonic because of his chip.
Right.
And they're gonna have to be like, oh shit, how the fuck do we get this chip out of his head so he doesn't die?
Here comes the Captain Rex cameo.
Yeah, and then
we might see Ahsoka.
Yeah. Oh, Captain Rex took out his chip. Oh, they'll hear on some backwater planet. Yeah, they'll hear on some backwater planet about a renegade clone captain. They'll be like, oh, and then they'll go find Rex, and then Rex will help them do the thing. And yeah, that's the tentative plot, I think. But yeah, we haven't seen Crosshair in, what, 3 episodes? It's been a while.
Yeah, episode
I guess the 3rd episode?
3.
I know we haven't seen him for 4 or 5, but was he in 3? I don't remember.
I thought it was 3 was the last one where he had his, like, little imp squad.
Yeah, 3 was...
The Bad Batch.
3 was where he leads the mission against Saw Gerrera's little team, little group. Yeah.
It was pretty fucking dark.
That was, yeah. Fucking executing soldiers on the spot, yeah.
And then
civilians with a flamethrower.
I guess the only other thing that's up for speculation is who exactly hired Fennec Shand, because she was looking specifically for Omega, but Tarkin and the Imperials didn't really look twice at Omega. So is it Kaminoans trying to get her back?
Probably. I mean, that makes the most sense to me. I mean, unless she's just worth money, then some fucking Hutt might have hired her, but like, but yeah, I could totally see the Kaminoans doing it. Fennec Shand just kind of reminds me of, like, you know, the light side bounty hunter from, like, you know, if you played KOTOR and you played like the bounty hunter, you could play like the good guy bounty hunter on the light side who just goes, look, come with me and I won't have to hurt you. Like, I
feel like halfway through the season she's gonna like impromptu replace the sharpshooter in the Bad Batch for like an episode and become like their new Crosshair for a little bit.
Right. I don't know. I don't know if I'd like that. That doesn't really seem like.
Yeah, I wouldn't either, but I can kind of. Yeah, I don't know.
Because she is like sort of a fan favorite because, you know, I mean, Ming-Na Wen is Ming-Na Wen, but like, yeah, I don't think that would. I don't think that serves Fennec's character very well. Because Fennec, like, literally only teamed up with Boba Fett because Boba Fett literally saved her life.
Exactly.
So, yeah, I don't know. I could definitely see...
I don't know. I've just heard some rumors going in that direction, and I don't necessarily think it would be right either.
Well, I could see Crosshair's team finding the Bad Batch and end up in a firefight, and then, like, because Omega is threatened by the Empire... Fennec would team up with the Bad Batch specifically to defend Omega from the Empire because it's going to be a lot easier to get Omega from the Bad Batch than getting her back from the Empire. So I could see that, but
they note when Fennec's first appearance in The Mandalorian, didn't they say she used to like be an Imperial bounty hunter, or did they just say during the Imperial era?
I couldn't tell you.
Quite remember.
I did recently start rewatching The Mandalorian, but I'm only on like season 1, episode 4, so. We hadn't even gotten to Fennec yet. Yeah, I don't know. I very well could have been. There's a lot of, like, throwaway lines like that in Mandalorian about, oh, yeah, that was back during the Empire days. So, yeah, I can totally see that. Yeah, that's a good point. I didn't even think about that, but, yeah, I don't know. Do we see any more, apart from Captain Rex, which is basically confirmed already? Is there any, like, do we see any other cameos or anything incoming, do you think?
I'm still putting money on the Dryden Voss one being there in an episode. It seems like all of the new assets for Clone Wars Season 7 got used right off the bat in Bad Batch, like the Depa Balaba, Caleb Doom assets. So I still think that one's going to happen at some point. I'm not sure exactly where, but
Who's Dryden Voss again? Sorry.
he's the Crimson Dawn guy from Solo that had like the
bad guy.
little like knife thing or whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
It was a corny ass weapon, but I noticed that in like season 7 of Clone Wars, in like a small cameo scene like the Deba Balaba one, there was a asset made for Dryden Voss, and I just don't think they're going to put all the work into that asset and then just never use it again outside of like that 2-scene frame.
Yeah, that'd be
fair.
I could see it. That'd be cool. It'd be an interesting. Yeah, because it was like that was like that knife. That was like wasn't it like Yondu's weapon in Guardians of the Galaxy, where he could like
Whistle it around.
Yeah, he could like control it telekinetically or whatever. Or am I just like I have such it's funny. I have
still
such a
don't
hard
remember the
time.
character.
I have such a hard time remembering Solo. Anything that happened in Solo, that was such a forgettable
Only seen
movie
it
for
once.
me. I've seen it twice, but even still, it is. Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I'll give that to you. It wasn't a masterpiece. I enjoyed watching it. It's just I feel like in terms of how people look at movies, we need to get away from just good movies and bad movies. What happened to excellent movies
Yeah,
and okay movies?
I didn't
and
think it was
enjoyable
bad.
movies?
I don't think Solo was bad. I remember specifically saying that movie wasn't bad when I left. It's just like nowadays thinking back on it, it's just like I don't remember much.
Right.
I do remember they ruined Kessel. They made Kessel just like a normal planet and not like an asteroid with artificial atmospheres for like slave mining.
Right.
But apart from that, like they ruined Kessel, and then they had the Maul. They had the Maul cameo at the very end, which I absolutely
I'll
hated.
admit that made zero sense.
Yeah. But
Like, and I believe like that was recently after they had finally like killed Maul off in Rebels, so you're
Yeah.
even more so thinking like, God, why?
that's the thing. Yeah, that's the thing, because I remember that. Yeah, that was well, because Solo takes place before Rebels. Like, isn't Solo like not that
Solo's
long after?
before Rebels. It's before Rogue One as well, so it's in closer proximity to Revenge of the
I was gonna
Sith
say it's
than
not
it
that
would
long
be
after
Rebels.
Revenge of the Sith, isn't it? It's like it's maybe like 15 BBY, maybe something like that.
Right.
Just a little bit after the Bad Batch.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, because
still don't
because
think
Han's still a
cameo needed
kid.
to be-
Han's like maybe like 18, 19 in that. Like he's a
Mhm.
yeah. It's like an older teenager or whatever. But
Right.
yeah. I don't know. Any more Bad Batch stuff we can talk about? Because I mean, like we've only been talking about Bad Batch for 20 minutes or so. I mean, it's as long as we do it in less than an hour and a half, like last time, that is fine.
Right.
I don't know.
Looks at this
I
was a
can't-
filler episode. We have less to talk about, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, because they didn't really allude
wasn't
to
a huge-
anything more that we're not already thinking about.
Again, yeah,
What
I
was,
didn't.
What
I
was
didn't.
that flying creature? Does anyone know?
Oh, that was in Clone Wars. That's what the that's what the Zygerians used in Clone Wars too. The big old like flying lizard.
I thought it looked sort of familiar. I wasn't.
Yeah,
Laser crossbows.
yeah. Though, I don't really like those.
The bows, yeah.
I don't
were a
really-
little weird, but they had a cool design. But
They do have a
that
cool
doesn't
design,
forgive them being super weird.
but like even for Star Wars that has laser swords and
Yeah.
like laser pikes and stuff, it
I think the Night Sisters used something similar
little
that looked
weird.
equally as corny.
they did. And
Yeah.
like I kind of gave them
Also
pass
with-
because they were Night Sisters, and Night Sisters are probably the corniest thing in all of fucking Star Wars if you think about it.
Yeah, I mean,
Without-
even in
without-
Legends,
without
they
being-
never hit the nail on the head with Night Sisters.
Without being objectively bad, I will say. Without being objectively bad, they're still pretty corny. I mean, again, we had the whole conversation a couple episodes ago about voodoo dolls and zombies
Right, I try to
and
lean
possessions
away from-
and like weird shit like that.
But no, I get it. I try to lean away from calling like any form of art objectively bad because that's hard to kind of say about someone else's interpretation or take on a certain
Yeah,
property.
I mean, I'm exaggerating when I say objectively. Obviously, I think I hope that goes without saying. I'm definitely not one of those people that say art is objectively good or bad. But even though I did just kind of say it, but whatever. It wasn't intended that way, I guess. Yeah, well, I could have swore there was like more stuff that I did want to talk about Bad Batch. I mean, we talked about Wrecker. We talked about. Is there any other crackpot theories? I mean, there's all the fucking like Omega's a clone of Palpatine theories. You know, the
Omega's going to become Snoke, confirmed.
The Darth Jar Jar level theories. You know,
Right.
all the crazy shit like that.
Right. Yeah. I haven't really seen any out there Bad Batch theories lately, other than the ones already talked about.
Yeah, I think the only one that's probably true is the one about Wrecker. But again, I don't think it's just gonna flip and turn him against the Bad Batch. I think it's gonna give him brain damage and make him he's either gonna be constantly like screaming in pain and like having like nonstop migraines. And they'll have to like sedate him or something just so he doesn't go insane.
I hope it's that and just not another good soldiers follow orders.
Yeah. I'm hoping it's not that because
Yeah, for sure, that would be cool.
first, yeah, like I think it wouldn't be cool for two different reasons. It wouldn't be cool because it would be really dark if he just turned on everyone and because think about it realistically. Like, what would happen if Wrecker just turned on the Bad Batch and became, Order 66 level compliant? He would probably sneak up behind, Tech or Echo or something and just break their neck, right away.
Right.
So either he would do that, and that would be incredibly fucking dark, or they would, sugarcoat it, and he would just get up and go, good soldiers follow orders, and then he'd, it would be some weird... He would do some weird... They would either subjugate him in some weird way, or he would try and subjugate them in some weird way. You know what I mean? Which I don't think would be entirely realistic. If it was just the inhibitor chip activating, which I hope it's not, then yeah, I mean, you kind of have this dilemma of do we take it realistically and super dark, or do we not take it realistically and just make it not believable? You know? So,
Right.
I feel like again, the way to get around that, I think, is to just make it so that it hospitalizes him. It puts him on a deathbed basically, and they have a ticking timer until it just kills him. It just shuts his brain down or something.
If one of the Bad Batch dies, which one do you call?
If somebody dies in the Bad Batch, ooh, that's... I would say Echo, because
That's my
they
guess,
pretty
too.
much killed him off in TCW and just kind of brought him back in a fan servicey way.
Right.
That's interesting because I don't think it would be Echo for that reason. I don't think they would kill him because they already didn't kill him.
Anybody else could be a temporary death, but if they just killed off Echo and he came back twice,
I don't know if this counts, but I was gonna say Crosshair.
Oh, Crosshair would be my
Totally,
number
totally
two.
counts.
Because basically what could happen is either they could get Crosshair's inhibitor chip out, and then in some later fight with the Empire with some new agent or something, he gets killed in the process because because he would be the member of the Bad Batch that the audience has the least emotional connection to.
Mm-hmm.
So, but still has an emotional and it's still going to have an emotional connection to the rest of the Bad Batch, and that's the thing. So we'll get to see the rest of the Bad Batch, being sad over Crosshair dying.
Right, and it could be one of those too far gone scenarios, considering how much they're fucking with his programming and the chip and whatever.
Right.
Yeah. Could be like a Mass Effect 1 scenario.
Not too late to stop this.
Spoiler alert for Mass Effect 1, I guess. Shout out now if you don't want to hear spoilers for Mass Effect 1, but it could be like a Saren scenario where you just convince him that you're a pawn.
Would be even darker and even less likely for our children's Star Wars
Yeah,
cartoon. But...
that's fair. That is fair. That would be a good ending, though. I mean, it would kind of just be ripping off Mass Effect, though. But
You can rip off Mass Effect. It's cool. Mass Effect's fine.
Okay, well. Any more I don't know why I'm like trying to spend so much more time on Bad Batch here. I don't know. I just like objectively like talking about it and speculating about it. It's fun to speculate about Star Wars that I actually like.
Oh, right on. And
It sounds really.
I like any period of time where there's like new Star Wars content coming out, especially on like
That's good. Yeah.
streaming TV mediums,
Yeah.
that kind of thing. More
Yeah.
than just written media, I guess.
We should have started doing this when The Mandalorian was coming out, because then we'd have been able to speculate about that too. So I guess here's something. What were some crazy like theories and stuff you heard about The Mandalorian when that was still running, or at least seasons 1 and 2 of The Mandalorian?
There's
I didn't hear a lot, to be honest. I just watched it.
What'd you say?
I didn't hear a lot, to be honest. I didn't like look out for any theories or anything. I just watched it.
I have one that I remember that I fucking hated, and I'm sure some of you probably already know what it is. Oh, it's that the Jedi that Baby Yoda Gogurt contacted was Mace Windu, who had survived.
Oh, God damn you.
Who had survived and turned to the dark side, and like, God, there were so many people saying that's what it was gonna be, and it's just no. Like,
I think the worst I heard was that the child was a clone of Yoda. And that's why
I
the
did hear
Empire
that too.
was trying to get them to find out if they could clone midichlorians.
Yeah, I heard that too.
Jedi.
You know what? That was a pretty early one. That was a pretty. I remember that was like a season 1 one. Yeah. I don't hate that. It would be. I don't necessarily like it either. It's kind of one of those theories that's just like, that's pretty far fetched.
Right.
But because because they seem to be dealing with a lot of clones and weird sciencey shit, like, I could see it.
I just don't know how you would be able to clone somebody of a species that's so obscure to the galaxy. Like,
Right.
even in
Literally-
universe,
literally-
nobody even knows what the fuck Yoda is.
Literally four individuals known to the entire galaxy in EU and in Disney canon, I think.
Right.
Because we got Vandar, we got Yoda, we got Yaddle, and we've got Grogu, and that's it, I think. Because even Peel's not the
All
same
I can
species.
think of.
Even Peel looks like Yoda.
I guess maybe there'll be another sooner or later, or we'll see. You know, maybe they'll find more or something. We'll see.
I swear to God, if they have some sort of like lost colony of Yoda species somewhere,
I
that's
can't
gonna
wait
be
to-
so dumb.
Free Yoda planet, guys.
The Yoda plan.
The DLC Yoda planet. God. Yeah.
It's almost bound to happen. I mean,
Right.
Baby Yoda's on every street corner.
some sort of Rakata situation.
I
where
just
it's
don't
like
get-
some sort of ancient
I just don't get
planet.
how a species can take 50 years to mature to basically the level of a toddler. Because
Yeah.
like
kinda
there are long-lived species in other media and stuff, but usually they're at least like physically mature, maybe not emotionally mature, but they're at least like physically mature after a couple decades at least, you know, like
A 20-year-old elf isn't still like in grade school.
yeah, well, like yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
like a
it's
20
a bit
in most
funny,
things, a 20-year-old elf is like still considered childlike, but like they basically be considered like a teenager.
Right.
Right. They'd be considered like not necessarily emotionally mature yet and can't make informed decisions really, but not a baby that can't talk, could barely walk. You know, basically has to be cared for. Although weirdly enough, it also seems like Grogu could fend for himself like reasonably well, but that could just be because he's incredibly force sensitive.
Yeah, that's just a chance, isn't it? Well, not chance, but like because you can just sort of make things happen. So I guess.
The only other thing I think with Mando that was really speculated on by the end of its run is, I guess, at the end of season 2, there was a little speculation on what he was like going to do with the Darksaber now that he has it.
Oh yeah.
Because I don't think he would just straight give it to Bo-Katan. I don't really think she deserves to have it. She's just
Well,
somebody that's
he
had it
tried
given
to.
to her 2 times.
I mean,
Would agree.
he did try to give it to her, but like that's the thing too is that I don't like the Darksaber at all. I mean, I don't know if you guys know this, but like the whole concept of the Darksaber is just so weird to me because like I'm used to the EU's version of Mandalorians, which hate everything to do with Jedi, including their lightsabers. Right. So like the fact that the rulership of Mandalore is passed down through a weapon exclusively used by the historic enemy, the ancient enemy of your people, it just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense to me at all.
Now it just kind of takes over the symbolism of the mask and the mythosaur axe.
Right. It's it's the symbolism of
more civilized age.
Right. And like, I don't know. To me, it's like if I don't know. It's like if fucking the head of state of France wore a German fucking Pickelhaube spike helmet at formal occasions and stuff. Like, why? Like, that's clearly just symbolizing your enemy.
The president of France gets like Hitler's Luger.
I wasn't gonna go that far, but yeah. But like, it's that's one of the reasons. The other reason is it doesn't fucking make sense as a lightsaber at all. The way it's shaped, the way it sounds, the way it looks. It feels like a completely different weapon. But that's more of just an aesthetic reason, so it's less of a... I think it's less of a good reason, but it is another reason I don't really like it very much. It looks cool, but it doesn't...
It's a weird...
It doesn't feel like a
tactical
lightsaber.
knife shape.
Yeah. Because, I mean, with a lightsaber is just a stick of light, right? But, like, the Darksaber has, like, a defined shape, which, like, how do you do that with light?
I think if you look closely, it even has, like, the little ridges at the bottom, like a...
Yeah, like an edge.
Pocket knife does for... Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh, you mean, like, the little serrations on it, on the bottom that you can, like, saw stuff
for,
open
like,
with?
sawing into wood and shit.
Yeah.
It's weird, like...
Yeah. Oh, do you know what the actual, like, use of that is? Like, the intended use of that is? Fun fact. It's, if you're trapped in a car, it's to cut through the seatbelt.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Base belt.
Yeah. I don't remember where I heard that for, but yeah. Anyways. But yeah, I mean, like, so there's those two reasons, and then there's also the fact that the whole mythos around the Darksaber just makes no sense at all. Because mostly in regards to, like, leading Mandalore or leading Clan Vizsla in general, because, like, like, you're supposed to win it through battle, but it's also been given to people who have willingly taken it and become leaders of Mandalore. Like, in Rebels, the Darksaber was just given to Bo-Katan, and she took it and became the leader for a while, until the Empire went and purged Mandalore, or whatever. So, like, I don't get why it was okay the first time, but it's not okay the second time during the Mandalorian for Bo-Katan to be given the Darksaber.
I don't know, maybe it's the thought of getting away from the old ways and, I guess, old traditions, because that one is particularly one that bit the Mandalorians in the ass, because if Maul could do it, what's going to stop any other Force wielder from just joining up with some Mandalorians, beating their leader's ass, and then just taking over?
Yeah. What's the thing, too? I mean, like, that's... If you think about it, like, a way better version of that, this will kind of lead us into our KOTOR conversation. Fun fact. But a way better version of that is of Revan fighting Mandalore the Ultimate. Because that's another example of a Jedi challenging Mandalore, like the leader of the Mandalorians, to a single combat, beating his ass.
Yeah.
And then essentially controlling the fate of the Mandalorians in his own hands. But what Revan did is that Revan knew the Mandalorians, wouldn't just blindly accept a Force user because they hated Force users.
They would immediately just appoint a new Mandalorian. Go about it.
Well, they would just put a bigger target on Revan's head that already was on Revan's head. And they would just try and kill him until they could get the Mask of Mandalore back. But that's why Revan went and hid the Mask of Mandalore, so the Mandalorians couldn't elect a new Mandalore until the mask was found.
What would happen if, like, they like, had a foundling that later showed Force sensitivity or something? Like, what they would do? in that kind of situation.
I don't think.
And I guess
I can't really think of any example of that happening.
no.
Well,
I'm kind of leaving it on the new canon to flesh it out because they talk about that happening a lot, but I want more context around what happened with Tar Vizsla and being a Jedi and what caused that like schism and everything.
I can think of a possible situation where that could have happened, but it didn't because of how things panned out. Mira. Mira was a foundling.
Yeah.
But again, the Mandalorians got Shrek'd at Malachor 5, and Mira was made homeless. And, you know, never found out. But she was Force sensitive, and she did actively track her bounties through the Force, subconsciously. Mm-hmm. So, that could have been an example of that had the Mandalorians continued. Right. But the thing is, at the time of... I mean, Mira's only, like, in her 20s in KOTOR 2, so, like, at the time of Malachor 5, Mira would have been a kid. Like, that's what she talks about in her story, is she talks about how, like, her job was to, like... handle munitions and stuff and just like carry it back and forth, but she was still trained in how to, you know, defuse bombs and stuff because, like, you know, if one of those fuckers goes off on accident, you know how to you need to know how to disable it quickly. So yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it wasn't it's not explicitly called a foundling because I think that's lingo that came out with I don't know if it was the Jango Fett comics, actually, or if it was Mandalorian itself. I know a lot of terminology was carried over from the Jango Fett comics.
I don't think they used the word expressly in Open Season or Sins of the Father.
Yeah. Maybe it was just Mandalorian then, but... yeah. I don't know. It'd be interesting to think about. I think, if it was EU Mandalorians, I think what would happen is that... Because, I mean, here's the thing. Force sensitivity in the EU is not as obvious as it is in Disney canon, because in Disney canon you have things like Force-sensitive children actively using Force powers and shit like that. Whereas with the EU, Force sensitivity just kind of means you're just generally better at things than other people, but, like, it's not really noticeable unless a Jedi's watching you do it.
Anakin. And a menace.
Right. So... I think that probably did happen quite a lot. Maybe not quite a lot, because Force sensitives are still like 1 in 10,000 or something like that. Possibly more, but yeah. I don't know. I don't know. I guess I really don't have much more to say about that. Like, it probably did happen. It's just no one ever noticed it, and no one ever thought it was just like... They probably just thought they were just talented, you know? Talented at whatever they were trying to do. Because, like, the Mandalorians didn't really have a lot of contact with a Jedi that wasn't just outright fighting them. There were a couple... I mean, there was a couple encounters that weren't, like...
Some outliers,
Revan and Canderous.
Candyman, and yeah.
Yeah, but... Generally, the Mandalorians saw the Jedi as like, their blood enemies, so... Literally since the Tongs left Coruscant, which is, like, way, way, way early. We're talking, like, 20,000 BBY is when that happened. So... yeah. Anyways. Unless anyone else wants to talk about anything, Bad Batch, or I guess Mandalorian related, so we're gonna move on to our next topic, which is KOTOR 1 and 2 cut content. What was originally intended for KOTOR 1 and for KOTOR 2. Now, I'm sure all of us at some point or another has played the restored content mod for KOTOR 2. Some of us have a lot more intimate knowledge of it than others. Thor.
Indeed, yeah, I've kind of gone over the game's files, a lot of it, even a lot of the dialogue now, and slowly more and more.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, I've played it dozens of times. Basically, ever since Restored Content Mod came out, I don't think I've done a single KOTOR 2 run without it, because why would you? Like, KOTOR 2 was, you know, in case...
I've only played it a few times now.
Yeah. in case you don't know, possibly the most well-known thing about KOTOR 2, it was incredibly rushed in its development. It was intended to basically start development basically right when KOTOR 1 was released, so holiday of 2003. And then I think it was originally supposed to come out in like holiday 2006, but a new CEO took over at LucasArts, essentially said, all of our current projects we have to get out as fast as humanly possible. If you have to cut stuff, I don't care. And KOTOR 2 was incredibly gutted. Lots of content was cut, like whole planets of content were cut, whole interactions and story elements were cut. Most of the end game was cut. The game was left in a skeletal state when it was released in about 8 months after development started in holiday 2004. So yeah. And that being said, I mean, there was content cut out of KOTOR 1 as well, not nearly as much, but KOTOR 1 was not rushed in the same way that KOTOR 2 was.
Seems to be a curse whenever Obsidian picks up like somebody's series and they're told to get a new entry in it in under a year out of nowhere. You always get up with like an 89 on Metacritic and lose a bunch of money from it.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with New Vegas.
Yeah. And it's weird, yeah, because I feel like it's always like, I don't know if this is my elitism showing or whatever, but it always seems like the really hardcore fans of the universe seem to really love that, because like I don't think I've talked to a super hardcore Fallout fan that didn't say New Vegas was like, out of the newer Fallouts, New Vegas wasn't the best. Out of like Fallout 3, Fallout 4, New Vegas, and Fallout 76, right?
Usually
I've
it's
hardly played
the
any of them except the originals. Like
more elitist fans are usually in the New
Vegas.
Vegas best camp.
Yeah. Well, it's either the New Vegas best or the Fallout 1 and 2 are best, which is like
Obsidian ones.
completely different company, completely different design, completely. So yeah, and then KOTOR 2 is the same way. Like, I feel like a lot of new players coming to KOTOR say, "Oh man, I don't get what the hype is about KOTOR 2. It's not that good. The story's weird and disjointed. Random things happen seemingly out of nowhere. The game's too easy. You seem to level up too fast." Yeah, it's because half the game isn't there.
Right.
You know. So but then, like, you know, again, with restored content and with the right things in the game, I personally think KOTOR 2 is a better game than KOTOR 1, but you have to take some steps necessary to get it at least to slightly resemble what, you know, Chris Avalon's vision originally was.
They're completely different games, though. That's why I just don't compare them.
Agreed.
I think
Yeah.
because I mean, the first is a classic Star Wars story, and the second is just sort of a dark twist, or a fresh dark twist.
Right.
And, yeah.
And I like that. I like that a lot, because it's a series and it's in the same sort of self-contained universe. Because the Old Republic time frame is so separated from other stuff in Star Wars, because like a lot of the Star Wars EU and stuff is super interconnected, lots of references to existing characters and stuff like that. Sometimes to the detriment of the works, as we were talking about earlier, but at the same time, like, there's a lot of interconnectivity there, because I mean, like, if you take the entire EU centered around the movies, starting with maybe like the start of Darth Plagueis up to like the sort of like the end of the post-Jedi era, like pre-Legacy post-Jedi era, that's maybe like 100 years. That's maybe like a century, if you think about it. It's really fucking weird. But yeah, I mean, episodes 1 to 6 takes place over what, 30 years, something like that.
Maybe like 45.
Because 1 to 2 is 10 years, 2 to 3 is 4 years, 3 to 4 is 19 years. Yeah, so
I don't know.
40-ish years, yeah. 30 to 40, I think it's like 36 years, something like that. So, yeah. It's not that much time. like that's one person's lifetime. And I do think that is a little bit of an oversight by George Lucas. I think they should be spaced out more. I think the Empire, for as total and domineering as it was, should probably have reigned longer than like 23 years before it fell.
Right.
But it's just such a like, I guess, like a rich era, because there's so much stuff happening. There's so many stories, books, video games, movies.
That's a long time to rule a galaxy, surely.
For one
A
person,
whole
sure.
galaxy.
Yeah.
Like,
Compare
I
that
mean,
to
I
the-
don't
to the
know. I
Republic,
guess.
which lasted for centuries.
I guess once you get that control, maybe it should be. Maybe you would think it would be easy to keep it, but maybe it's not. I don't know. That's a lot of planets, a lot of people, a lot of shipyards, a lot of planets that make the ships and produce the fuel and
Right.
can instantly turn or sell ships to other people. I don't know. There's also I don't know. Just I guess.
Well, right. I mean, well, the
I
thing
don't know.
is,
I see what you mean. I do for sure. Just because of how prominent the Empire was,
well, you just have to.
how strong it seemed for such a short amount of time.
If we're talking about the, if we're
They
talking
should have
about,
just not bothered with the Death Star and bought like a million, I don't know, Star Destroyers.
yeah. Well, if we're
Never mind.
talking about the logistics of it, you just have to think of the sheer, like, massive aggregate scale of the Star Wars galaxy. Like, there's hundreds of thousands of ships, hundreds of thousands, like tens of thousands of Star Destroyers, planets that are literally entirely devoted to producing Star Destroyers and stuff like that. So, like, and the bureaucratic makeup was there. I mean, a lot of it was adapted from Old Republic stuff, but, like, a lot of it was entirely new as well. Like, I mean, the Republic had no military structure since the days of the Darth Bane trilogy, like the Ruusan Reformation era, which is 1,000 years before that. So, like, again, the sheer aggregate scale is huge. So, I don't know. To see the Empire as it was during the original trilogy, I think it would have taken longer to get up to that point than 19 years. That's basically that's my idea. Also, it doesn't make sense with characters' ages too. We're supposed to be talking about KOTOR here. I'll wrap this up. But it doesn't make sense with characters' ages too, because, like, Obi-Wan in Episode 4 looks like an old fucking man. He's like 52.
Right.
And people have tried to explain that away. Oh, yeah, well, he lives on Tatooine, and you age twice as fast there. Okay, he's a Jedi. He's in tune with the light side of the Force. He shouldn't age that fast. Like, again, you can find lore reasons to explain away anything, but, like, that doesn't make it a good cover-up, really. That doesn't make it a good Band-Aid. And then same with Vader. I mean, Vader's like 43 when he dies. Like, you know. But, anyways, yeah, getting back to KOTOR. So, like, what we were saying earlier, the KOTOR universe is so, like, self-contained that, like, you can use some of the same planets and some of the same technology, but, like, it's pretty, like, you can't just use the same characters, because it's 4,000 years prior.
Right.
So you can't just have Darth Maul popping up every 10 seconds. Right?
They have the little callbacks. Like, they have Cassius Fett, and they have Fortuna out in the Tatooine desert.
Right.
You can't really go any deeper than that, other than, like, some...
Calrissian's
They're
utility
like, hey,
belt.
I'm, you know, like, I'm Han Solo's great grandfather. Like,
What do you think Comad Fortuna went to Kashyyyk to hunt? Because I was thinking, that's not what I was thinking of. I'm going to make a mission where you hunt with Comad Fortuna.
Could have been all kinds of stuff.
The extra Kashyyyk map.
Could have been
Kashyyyk map.
Could have been all kinds of stuff. Could have been Katarns. Could have been, what are those big fucking spiders? Ryshoks?
I was thinking he could fight the beast with you, or he could also, he could fight but maybe he could just be a temporary companion. I don't know. Who knows?
the big, like, Sasquatches. They're, like, 5 times taller than a Wookiee.
Oh, the Gorax?
Called. Oh, that's
Talk-
that's on Endor.
You talking about the Gorax?
No, that's on Endor. We'll never be talking about the Gorax. Ever again.
Oh.
Is it? It's in the damn Star Wars bestiary somewhere. I just can't remember what the fuck it's called.
Yeah, and there's all kinds of crap in there. There's also a giant like literally huge like King Kong sized snake. But I forget what it's called.
Yeah.
On Kashyyyk, so you could have hunted one of those. That's probably similar difficulty level to a crate dragon. Maybe not quite as high because crate dragons are literally like the size of city blocks. But
Wouldn't be able to do that though. I would need to use something in game though. Really. I was probably just gonna make it another beast or something. I don't know.
just make it a rancor. I don't know.
Rancor, Trench Tech, or could also start the hunt with Kinrath and Bullhounds or whatever.
Just make it a giant Kinrath. Can you change the size of them?
Scale up.
Yeah.
They can drag.
You can't change the size of them?
No.
Oh.
Yeah.
I don't think
That
so.
sucks. Just make it a
I mean, there might be, but then that would be for all of them, so it just wouldn't work out well. Unless I made a new slot for them, but there's no slots spare. 'Cause the list can only be so long, and I've got to save every spare slot I've got for whichever characters are missing from the first game.
Okay. Well, okay, so does anyone... Do any of y'all know any cut content that is not... Or I guess, sure. Do you have any favorite cut content that either is in either of the restored content mods for KOTOR 1 or KOTOR 2, or that was not in the restored content mods, but you still know about? Like, something that Chris Avalon or Drew Carpenter might have mentioned in an interview, or any of the devs might have talked about, or something you might have found in the game files. Just anything like that. Like, is there something like a particular little nugget of game that most people didn't get to experience that you particularly liked or thought sounded cool?
The fuck did Deadeye Duncan get to Manon?
Oh, that's great.
I knew one of you was gonna say that.
Deadeye
I want to see that
Duncan on the
spin off.
Good one.
Deadeye Duncan!
Because there's...
I do want to know what was going to be done with the Slayeron Arena originally. I mean, I suppose the battle for...
That's a super cool map.
That's pretty much what I'm going to do with it.
Yeah.
There is 3 variants of the map, but I can't get 2 of them working.
Yeah. Have all of you... Obviously you have, Thor, but have the rest of you seen the Slayeron map? It's a unique map. Yeah, it's pretty it's pretty cool. It's pretty barren. Obviously, like they didn't really do a hell of a lot with it, but it is a like designed map that they made for, the Slayeron planet originally. And what's cool is that they actually talked about Slayeron in KOTOR 2 as well. Because Slayeron was originally intended for KOTOR 1, right? It was originally intended for KOTOR 1, and then it was cut pretty early. And then, and then they still, like, talk about it in KOTOR 2 and stuff, like, where they talk about, like, they get fuel from Slayeron. Excuse me, for
cut
the
content mentioned in
Narshada.
a game that had cut content.
Yeah. That's pretty cool. Yeah, in Expanded Galaxy, I went and ran around. You can go to Slayeron and Expanded Galaxy and just run around the map. I think there's, like, one quest you can do there, and that's about it, but, like, the, oh, you know what? The droid shop on Slayeron stood out to me a lot because it was actually a shop, and there were actual displays that you could go around and like look at the droid models and stuff.
Yeah.
That was cool. That was pretty cool because all the other droid shops is just like, there's like
Took a while to place.
Oh, I'll bet. Yeah. It was so cool though. I liked it a lot. So was that you or was that the original modelers?
That's me. The modeler only made those levels, then they made a load of other levels, and as far as I'm aware they lost those levels that they'd been working on because they made them better and they looked amazing.
Oh no.
And I believe they lost them. And then that's it. They couldn't happen now. Which is a shame.
That is a shame.
So I don't know what to do with it in the first game, but I suppose I'll just try and do something for Yuthura.
Yeah. Makes sense, yeah. Considering her backstory and all that, yeah.
Yeah, just make her go after the hut, and there'll be another hut, and maybe you can make them fight against each other. Maybe you can. Maybe you do or you don't. You know, you go after one or the other.
What about you, Vatrid?
Well, the one particular piece of cut content I like that probably there's a lot of dissenting opinion about is I really like M478. The first time I played it, I like having more length onto the whole KOTOR Lawn of Ash thing. I hate the fact that KOTOR is like, or that Korriban is like probably half an hour long and you're just done with it.
I'm the same. I quite
And
like.
you're just like, oh, she's dead. What's the point of even fucking coming here other than the Ludo Crash Tomb? So I like having at least M478 as something else to do. It was really enjoyable the first time playing through. Now it can get tedious once you've done it about 8 or 9 times. It's a bit long.
If M478, yeah, because I've done M478 so many times.
I like it.
It could have been a lot better. That's its problem.
That's the thing. Yeah, I was gonna say M478 does have a good story.
I'll go and work on it again at some point.
It does have.
I did tweak the levels a bit so that like all the control panels were like wonky and not like lined up.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that at all? Anyone? Well, yeah, I've cleaned that up because it looked awful and it just annoyed me. I couldn't play through it like that.
That's nice.
And then there was a bit that like walked you up a long corridor, and I got rid of that and put in some doors and a transition between the two levels, which I thought was good. And I combined the level that was randomly split into 2 levels.
Right. So
didn't make sense.
So my thing with M478 is, yeah, it's got a good story. It does. I do like the M478 story. And, like, some of the side quests are okay, but, like, M478 literally has side quests that are just like, go talk to every single droid on M478 and find the one that has a slight malfunction in its speech patterns.
And some of the voices are just, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hello! Can I help you today? Great droid voice. That's basically it. Like, yeah, a lot of the voices are bad. A lot of them have bad, like, bad audio modulation. You know? Like, they just kind of slapped a modulator on top of someone's voice and just churned it out. And, like, a lot of them are very different in volume. Like, some of them blow your eardrums out, and some of them are barely audible.
Some of them crashed the game as well, at least for me. There's one, the black market droid, if I speak to that, it crashed the game for me. I took it out.
Really?
I've modded it out in the Expanded Galaxy.
Is that the one that sells you a repair kit? Is that the one that sells you a repair kit for 50,000 credits or something ridiculous?
And then just keep selling them to you, I think.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even think they sell you anything. I think they just offer to sell you something.
No, they give you stuff. I remember this specifically.
But I think it's junk either way.
The first time I played it on stream, I got boogalooed by it. I walked up to I was like, oh, this is pretty cool. And I gave him... He's like, only a mere 50,000 credits. I was like, oh, this better be fucking a badass piece of gear. And it was like an advanced repair kit. And I was like...
I was going to change it into a droid vendor, which could sell you a companion droid to replace your lost companions at the end of the game. In the second game. Because that way you could just fill up with droids randomly. I don't know. For the free roam.
Yeah, that'd be neat. That'd be pretty cool, actually. Yeah, I'd like that.
I set it up. I've got a demo level of it, but I just haven't picked out all the initial. Like, there's a lot of droids to pick from, so I need to sort of set it up so that you can properly pick them and cycle through them.
So I'll tell you guys. So I'll tell you guys my favorite. My favorite cut content is a specific scene. It's not like a level or anything. It's the classic scene on Dantooine where Kreia, kills the Jedi Masters, or she shows up and wipes you out. So if you're dark side and there's no Jedi Masters there, the way Kreia knocks you out is she'll activate her lightsaber and stab herself with it and collapse on the ground, and that makes your character like slip into a coma. Your character just goes and passes
does anyone think
I forgot that was cut content because I've just played it with restored
Yeah.
content so many times now.
That's restored content. Yeah.
At least I think the what is it? The
It's a unique animation and everything. She literally goes.
underground
It's
for
the
the
coolest fucking
academy
thing.
on Dantooine was probably cut, or at least was going to
Oh,
be
yeah,
made.
the other-
maybe
the
for
other
the
wing
first
or
game
whatever.
because the
Oh, the
door
sublevel?
exists. Yeah, the sub level, the door,
Yeah.
the first and second door exist.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been able to like open the first door and then walk to. I've now added a walk to a copy of the second game.
I've heard
version
that.
of the sub level.
I've heard that was originally like
Which
that
is
sub level
odd.
was originally intended to be in the game, and then like in KOTOR 2 they took the level for that.
I've
and
not
then they
read it
added,
anywhere,
like,
but it definitely would make sense.
they added like rubble everywhere. You know, like the place had just been bombarded. But yeah, so that scene with Kreia though, it's like it's only if you're dark side, it's only if you killed all of the Jedi Masters. But that's basically how she gets you unconscious, because normally the Jedi Masters would knock you out. But yeah, because it's like the idea is that she's using Jarl's Force Bond, which is like supposedly lethal, but you never see it being lethal ever, apart from Kreia getting her hand chopped off at the very beginning of the game. She actually uses that to her advantage by fucking, yeah, almost offing herself completely. And that, like, yeah, that knocks the exile out just instantly because of the Force Bond. Then it's like, oh, it's just
Pretty dang.
such a cool fucking moment for me. And it's like, yeah, again, I think, pretty sure, Bastila might use it at the end of KOTOR 1 if she kills herself. I can't think of any other time I've seen that. But it's like, yeah, it's like a suicide animation where, like, she takes out the saber, like, swings it around in her hand, and, like, offs herself, Sudoku's herself.
Think.
But, yeah. Okay. Well, anything else that stood out to you guys? Okay.
Mostly Deadeye dunking on Manon.
Yeah, I mean, Deadeye Duncan on Manon is like the peak of restored content. I don't know how it gets any better.
Yeah.
What trade
There
all
is
of the
a lot
restored
of,
content for KOTOR 2.
Random extra. Sorry, go ahead. About you. There's a lot of random, like extra citizens and stuff, or dialogue for that could walk around Lower Terrace.
Yeah. I do remember that.
All sorts
too.
of stuff. I haven't played the either of the mods that restore all the stuff for the first game because they look pretty.
They're rough.
comprehensive.
They're
Are they?
they're not great. There is a lot of restored content, and it is neat to see and play through at least once or twice, but it's also really buggy, and a lot of times you can get developer notes when you try and interact with stuff, you know, like oh, add this here, blah blah blah. I got like literally trapped in the KOTOR base because the console that you're supposed to use to turn the turrets off. Did I say the KOTOR base? I mean the Vulc base.
Yeah, I remember that.
I literally got trapped in there because the console you're supposed to use to turn the turrets off had a developer note on it instead of actually letting you interact with a console. So I had to warp code to the Vulcar swoop garage.
That's frustrating.
Yeah.
And what do you think? Does everyone think I should add in the 2 cut levels to the Volca base and the Beck base? Because they're
I
there.
haven't personally done them.
I can use them. I can make use of
Entirely
them.
sure.
I
Well,
don't see why it would hurt.
so the cut Vulcar level, that's in KOTOR 1 Restored, and it's the buggiest part of KOTOR 1 Restored. So
How can it be buggy?
Yeah, I
It
think
looks
I
like
remember.
I think it just works. From what I've been able to gather, it just works. I mean, I think all that needs to be done is the control panel needs to open an elevator instead of what is now like a storage closet in the middle of the room, right in the previous level. As far as I can tell, in the ported version of it, at least that I've been working on, it all works.
could have just been that the developers of the KOTOR 1 Restored project just did it poorly. Like it could have been on them instead of just the level itself.
Where was it? Did you get stuck on the previous level? You say, or the next level?
I got stuck in the first level of the.
Because in the initial the initial area after the sewers.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, then maybe they just forgot to make the terminal do whatever.
It could have been, yeah. Again, I wouldn't know from the developer side, but I mean, like, if we're getting like BioWare developer notes when we're clicking on shit, like that should never happen in a finished mod. So like,
Definitely.
yeah. But I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab another beer. So.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I'll take this opportunity to step out real quick. So
Yeah.
I need something to drink.
All right.
Do the same then.
Well, let's take a fiver. We'll be right back. Chat.
It'd be good. Or I'm gonna break your legs.